We are back to the Greasy Alpha podcast with a very special guest to me, Mr. Danny Fallon from New York City.
Yeah.
Former Florida comedian, turned New York City comedian, absolutely tearing it up. He's very hilarious, folks. The 6th episode, Danny, the 6th episode.
Wow.
I've had you in mind since the 0 episode. I've said there's going to be an episode one day where I get to bullshit with Danny Fallon, and that's going to make me happy. So thank you for joining, man. Thank you for being
Of course, man. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, bro. So, dude, let's just jump right after it. You were in Florida as a comedian for a little bit, right?
Yeah.
For a lot of it, actually.
Well, yeah.
And you went to the New York scene, bro, and it looks like things are like, I say well, but we're comedians, so you're never going to agree to the word well. But I see you posting a lot. You're getting on shows. You're doing some sketch comedy. I see you in other videos and shit, bro. So you're getting after it hard, dude, right?
Yeah, you could say that. I mean, like you said, we're comedians, so I think a lot of times people like you will be like, dude, you're doing great. Oh, dude, you're doing this. And it's like, in my head, I'm like, I feel like I'm about to quit comedy, like every day, you know?
We're always because you're never satisfied. There's never enough. You're never doing enough writing, enough performing, enough shows, enough anything. And when you do that, all that stuff, it's not good enough.
Yeah.
Like it's not. It's an unsatisfiable like itch a lot of times.
Yeah.
And you kind of get it. You know that scratch, you like that itch. You're like, all right, that at least relieves it. It's gonna be back in a little bit. Like that's comedy.
Yeah. It is a disease of unsatisfaction for sure.
Oh, dude, I love
disease
that.
of dissatisfaction.
That should be like framed in the comedy museum. I think it just seems like a running theme amongst like comedians we talked. Like we all kind of come from that same like mindset of just dissatisfaction constantly.
It's total addiction. I mean, I see total parallels between stand-up comedy and addiction because it's just a constant dopamine chase, and it's constantly like it lasts so little, you know, like. And you kind of always have this sense of like, I need to keep pushing. I need to, what's coming next? It's hard to explain, but it's like, even when you have like this big thing or this milestone, you're like, okay, well, I still have to do other things, right? Like I can't.
That's like, no, that's a really good point. Cause you have those moments of like, you know, for me, I'll say like on the occasion that I've gotten to do like the improv, right, in South Florida, you hit that good sized room, a lot of laughs, and then like the next day you're in a 4-person open mic, and you're like,
yeah,
this is still where I'm at. This is still all right. This is cool. This is cool. The first time it happens, it's harder, and then now you start to get used to it a little bit. It's like I got to do the open mic at the Mothership in the Fat Boy. Or excuse me, not the Fat Boy, the Little Boy. And it's cool. It's 3 minutes. It's completely random. I did nothing to earn it. I just got lucky. And it's dope to do it. The room's hot. They're laughing. They're at Rogan's Club, bro. They're excited to be there. But as soon as you get done, they're like, hey, no hanging around. You got to leave. Politely.
Oh, wow.
Politely, they say that very like, you know, forward statement. So you get a couple daps. The security's really cool. There's if there was 1 or 2 comedians around afterwards, dap me up, walk down the stairs. I'm like, dude, this is fucking dope club. And then you walk back outside. Next thing you know, you're back in the street. You're on 6th Street. There's homeless people. There's drug addicts. It smells like it's grungy. You're like, I was just in there. Like 20 seconds ago, I was just in that building. I promise you. You feel like a crazy person.
Crazy person. I kind of love that aspect of comedy, though, and performing comedy, because at first, or maybe not at first, but like I think when I was younger, I had this illusion of like being like a rock star or whatever, and like this idea of like it's like this nonstop feeling, it's this nonstop life of like all I really saw was like the show. I didn't understand, and I remember like, you know, doing some cool show, maybe it was like the Improv or something in Florida, and then like afterwards, like going to a gas station, and then being like, no one in here knows I just crushed at the Improv, you know? And just kind of like realizing like you kind of like slip back into obscurity, but now I kind of like that because it's kind of cool. It's just like this, I don't know, it's kind of like this secret agent feeling. It's just like I know now that it's all smoke and mirrors. So there's kind of something relieving about like, oh, I could just go for a walk at 2 a.m. Like you never really know what the person is doing outside of the glamour, you know?
Yeah. Do you ever feel like because I wouldn't say like you're always on, but when I hang out with you, you're pretty funny, like pretty naturally. Like you're just a fun hang. Do you find like it's
Thanks, man.
enjoyable? Yeah, for sure. Don't think about it too much, but yeah, yeah. Um, do you find that when you get introduced or when you meet a group of people and they don't know that you're pursuing comedy or comedian yet, it is very fun to just be yourself and not overthink it?
Yeah.
Versus you get introduced to a group of people like, oh, this Danny, he's a comedian, and like when you get a chance, like a raw, like maybe even on an airplane. I really don't drink anymore, so like you know, you don't really go to a bar, but like every once in a while, I get that. Like if I go to a bar and I'm talking to somebody, I'm like, I'm gonna work on a few things here, stranger. But you know what I mean? Like, or even not working, just like be yourself and it not be an expectation. Do you know that feeling I'm talking about?
Yeah, no, totally. I once you said the opposite, like once you said the alternative, as you set up the alternative being, here is Danny Fallon. He is a comedian. Like that I do not like anymore. Like I don't like, cuz yeah, the expectation and like what people will say, like they'll be like, "Oh, tell us a bit," or "Tell us a joke." And it's like you don't really get it, like, and that's fine. I'm not saying you should get it. I'm just saying, just if you didn't have any sort of um preconceived notions, like I would just be funny in conversation. That would happen. I don't like the expectation because it's like people always be like, "Oh, tell us a bit." It's like, don't just hang out with me. I'll find something funny in hanging out, and that's
There's
at this point that's more fun.
there's the one where it's like, tell me a bit, and that one's easier to kind of brush over because you go, oh, come see me, whatever. And then the other one that's I think is harder is when you're just when you say something funny and someone goes, oh, hey, that would be something good you could use for stand up. That's the
Yeah,
one that hurts worse because you're like, yeah, I know, like I get it, like I observe, like I'm doing my own recon, like out there, like it's not like you gotta like it's not like I was like, you know what, I didn't even think about that. You mean the thing I just said that was really funny made everyone laugh? I should use that. that's, that's the one that gets me more. I don't know, and it's I don't know. Maybe I'm just bitch. Maybe I'm just in my feels right now, dog. Maybe I'm just talking too much because it's Danny Fallon and I'm nervous. I don't know.
maybe
I
you
don't know.
are. Feels. I get it. I think we're all pretty well, not all, but a lot of us are very sensitive, and we just have really peculiar reactions to words and things that I think people normally just don't even think about at all. They say it and they just said it. Like, and people like you and I will be like, well, yeah, because like someone will be like, because again, this expectation, even that I put on myself, if someone says, "Oh, you should use that," I start thinking, man, maybe they're right, and I like put it on my notes. And I'm like, yeah, how could I turn that into a bit? It's like I wish I
No,
could just sometimes just
I don't give them the
maybe you're wrong.
satisfaction. I don't give them the satisfaction. I always just go, oh yeah, maybe, and I don't write it down in front. If it's truly fun, if I was like gonna do it myself, because like I try not to be the guy who's always I try to like create like a little storage bank that I could go back
Mhm.
later and say I'm gonna write. But if someone says it to me, I'm definitely not taking out my phone and writing it down. Just be like, oh yeah, maybe, because like I don't, because even if it was my idea but they said it out loud, I'm not gonna let them have that. So that's just me. Maybe I hey.
So petty.
Dude, but dude, I'm actually super glad to have you. Like, it's just conversations like this that were always fun with you. You were, you still are, but still are one of my favorite comedians to watch because you have good angles on stuff. You're always trying new shit. You were fun. You're always fun to be around. So I was like super thrilled to see you in New York and then to get you on my podcast in the first 10 episodes, mind you. So when this is big one day, you'll be like, I was number 6. I think that's a pretty or one of the other. Something will happen. This episode will be relevant, but let's get to know the man, the myth, the legend, Danny Fallon, a little bit better. How long have you been doing stand up comedy for, Danny?
Since July 2019.
You're gonna make me do math. I appreciate that. That's
That
6 year, 4.5, 5 years, 5.5 years.
no, about 4.5.
Okay, I was close on the. All right.
Yeah.
It's four. And how many years did you not do stand up, but thought about doing stand up before you did stand up?
That's a good question. I think I really started to think about doing stand up. Man, I don't know really. I think I don't think I really started thinking about doing it till maybe 2018 or 2019.
Really? So did you acknowledge that you were funny earlier in life though? Like, would you have thought of yourself as
Yes.
a funny person? Yeah.
Yeah, but it is funny though because I didn't ever like I always think about the fact that I didn't think about the fact that I was funny really until I got sober and people started telling me more often that I was funny. And then I don't know, it's like, it's hard to explain, but it's like, I never really gave a shit about being funny. Or maybe I did, but I'm just so fucking, my memory is all so crazy and I had such different, like, motivations and such other things were important to me at the time. Like I remember being younger and like being a teenager and like 18 and 19 and stuff. And I just remember I used to think I think as I remember it, I would have been more preoccupied with seeming smart or like I would have got a better reward from someone being like, oh, that was intelligent or that was smart or that was interesting, as opposed to being funny. And being funny just sometimes happened, and a lot of times it seemed like it happened from like being misunderstood. But I'm remembering it's like, yeah, obviously I was always goofy and funny, but it was just so random when I would have the motivation to be like that, which is still kind of the case. But then I just started to learn how to kind of reel it in with
Yeah.
comedy and do it more
So yeah,
often.
because you were pretty young when you started doing. How old are you now?
30.
You're 30. All right. So you were what you said 4.5 years. So like 26 years old, something like that. I guess when you started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
6.
So I mean I was 30 years old, so just like a few years ahead. But yeah, I mean you were still a little more youthful. Maybe you haven't had like that dream. But did you grow up ever really loving, admiring like one comedian? I'm sure you were a fan when you were younger, right?
Oh,
No, Danny,
no,
you
I
are.
didn't like. I tell you,
It's so funny
it's
because
very,
you really are such a good joke writer, and you're so funny, and you're inspired by none. you just
no, that's
really
not what I'm saying. It's just like I didn't grow up watching stand up comedy. That was never I didn't the first time I watched stand up comedy, I watched Kevin Hart, the one where his dad is talking about um you gonna learn today.
yeah
Remember that one?
yeah.
And so that was the first I watched Kevin Hart, and then later that day I did powdered cocaine for the first time. And which I always like saying powdered cocaine. It sounds like
It
something you're gonna get for like a recipe. Like, ah, man, we're out of powdered cocaine.
Well, there is a difference between a rock of crack and powdered cocaine.
Well,
So
that's why I'm very intimately familiar with the differences. So
yeah, I know you are, but listeners might have a little bit of not total understanding. So that's so ironic that the day you listen to Kevin Hart, you try powdered cocaine for the first time.
right,
Ultimately,
later.
you ended up. I mean, most people know this. Like you ended up having some like substance abuse, addiction issues that you've since
Yeah,
come through and like passed up. What are you 5, 6 years sober now and everything?
9 years.
I don't do math well, but yes.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Math
so
is not your specialty.
so 9 years sober. So obviously that part of your life's behind you, and that's great. So we can say powder cocaine now because you're sober. It doesn't matter. So it's ironic
Well,
that that happened around the same time.
yeah. I mean, well, it's just like I did mushrooms earlier that day too. But anyhow, whatever. It was quite a day. I already had substance abuse problems at that point, which is why I was. I mean, I hadn't slept for a couple days. I did mushrooms from doing speed. I did mushrooms that morning. Later on, I did coke for the first time. Um, but I watched Kevin Hart and I was like, "Wow, this is hilarious." But that was the first time I sat down and watched. No, actually, the first time I got drunk. The second time I got drunk, I watched Sinbad actually, but I have no recollection of what he was talking about. But I know that we watched Sinbad. Which like Sinbad at this point,
Hey,
Sinbad is like I
you
don't.
boys want to get drunk and watch Sinbad? Hell yeah, dude!
It was just me and one other person. It was a Monday night. It was
Even
after
better.
school. It wasn't even night. It was Monday after school. I had like 16. I had like 12 or just. It was like like literally like I don't know, not literally, but it was anywhere from 10 to 16 drinks in like an hour. Just got wasted. And then this is the second time I ever drank. I drank the first time on a Friday night. The second time was Monday. But
Maybe
to get back to your point,
did you ever think that drinking wasn't the problem, or maybe Sinbad's the problem? Could that have like could that have somehow like tainted your perception of reality and just completely thrown you off into the universe? I don't know, just an idea. Maybe talk to a doctor about that, but it's just a thought.
I only have one recollection of watching Sinbad, so I think I could rule Sinbad out as any sort of
Okay.
I don't think Sinbad is that powerful. That just one time. That was
You
the
never
only
know.
time. But
Never know. Okay.
But yeah,
okay.
so I didn't grow up watching stand up, and so yeah, I mean, I watched Kevin Hart. So that was like the first time I watched Kevin Hart. That was like probably March 2012, and I watched Kevin Hart whenever I watched a few more Kevin Harts before I got sober. That was all, and then in 2016, I got sober in 2014 October, and then I was dating this girl, and she showed me John Mulaney New in Town in like 2016. Was it 2016? Yeah, 2016. And I was like, oh my God. It like blew me away because I was like, oh, this is like shit I've been doing my whole life. I didn't know you could like do this for a living. I didn't know because my whole thing growing up was that I wanted to be a musician. I wanted to be a rock star. I wanted to be an actor. I wanted to be a writer. I just never really thought about stand up. I don't know why. And so after I watched John Mulaney New in Town, that was when the seed was planted of like, oh, I could do that. But I never, so I guess maybe I wanted to do it earlier, but I don't remember like seriously considering it. I had no idea where to start, and it was easy to justify doing other things, but
Yeah.
New in Town.
That
So,
was
yeah,
probably,
I mean,
if we're thinking about it, might be the longest answer to explain how someone got started. So that's on me. That's just bad podcasting. I'm sorry, Danny.
well, no, you asked me, you said, I don't know. Well, you said a lot of things, and I said a lot of things.
We've said a lot of stuff, and we've said absolutely nothing at all, and I fucking love that. That was perfect. That's perfect. That's all we need to do. Okay, I do have a couple of things I wanted to dig into with you. Just curious. What would if you had $1 million to spend? How would you spend it? And you had to spend it, and I prefer you do it not responsibly.
You prefer I do it not responsibly?
Don't invest it. Don't buy real estate. How are you blowing $1 million?
That is so like hurtful to me. Like it just hurts me to think about like having $1 million and having to spend it recklessly because like the true real pragmatic answer is like I would just be like super controlled and just be like, okay, well, I'm not going to you don't like this, you don't want me to do this.
No. Have you ever seen the movie Brewster's Millions?
No.
There's a movie called Brewster's Millions where the guy inherits, I think it's $10 million, I want to say, and he has 30 days to spend it all. And if he does that, he gets $100 million. But he can't own anything at the end of 30 days. That's what kind of made me ask this question. So he had to buy stuff.
I can answer it. You just have to put more. You need to put more parameters on me because I'm someone who's always going to find the loophole. So if you ask me like a vague question,
okay, all right. Here's the question. Then. Here's the question.
You got to guide me. Yeah.
Here's the question. If I said I'll give you $1 million and you have to spend it all in the next 30 days, but you can't own anything at the end of 30 days. And if you do that, you get $10 million. How would you do that?
I think I would get like, that basketball team, the Hornets, Charlotte Hornets?
Yeah.
I would get like, somehow I would get either whether they sell them or I would have a company make tracksuits of Charlotte Hornet tracksuits. And I would I think I would pay everyone. I think I would give everyone on my street. I would pay everyone on my street $1,000 to wear those, like like for a day. And so everyone in New York City on my street would be wearing those. And that's probably we probably got to spend like $200. Who knows? Maybe like 500 to 1,000 people on my street. Then I got to pay them to wear it. And then maybe do like Codeine Crazy by Future is playing, and I got like shades on. You know what? I've never had like crazy shoes. Let me get like a pair of Yeezys or something.
You
I'll
gotta
get a.
rent them. You gotta
I'll get a.
rent them though. Yeah.
I'll rent them. I'll rent like a Lamborghini, and I would just do like maybe like rap music videos for myself.
Almost,
Just
yeah, almost like it's like a Charlotte Hornets block party,
yeah,
like in New York.
right. And we're
Yeah,
all wearing that.
because
Everyone also,
all the talent you hire doesn't like it's not something you own. So pretty much you're just throwing a banger. You're kind of throwing
yeah,
a banger on
for
with the
myself.
Hornets with like that Hornets windbreaker that everyone had growing up. Is that what you're
Yeah,
thinking of?
exactly. Exactly.
I love that.
Like,
All right.
what
Two
else would
things
I
just
do?
happened there. One, you just also cracked the code on how to ask that question better because I've had a lot of people give responsible answers, but when I say, "Hey, no responsible answers," they're like, "Okay, you're fighting it. You're like, dude, no, like I just really want to do the
Yeah,
right stuff with it." I'm like, it's hypothetical. I'm not giving you this isn't fucking. I'm not Mr. Beast. It's
but you're asking poor comedians like who are like suffering financially. They're like, yeah, I'm going to get out of credit card debt. I'm going to pay for my rent for 2 years. I'm gonna finally own a car. Like, dude, this is like there's all I do nowadays is just think about like, oh, if I had money, I would like, you know,
and that's why I'm asking it because what better person to ask than people that don't have it? Like, you know what I
yeah,
mean?
but
Like
yeah,
it'd be stupid to ask somebody who has $1 million, what would you do if you had $1 million? That'd be stupid. That'd be dumb. I'd hate to
yeah.
hear that.
I would definitely. You know what else I would do? I would buy. I would definitely like just buy out like a lot of shit from Guitar Center, and I would buy some place where I could jam, and I would just throw like a massive jam party.
Oh yeah, dude. Well, part of
Yeah,
your block party, you could just be a performing act.
yeah,
That would
that's
be
true.
cool too. If you turn the block party into like, there's also a little comedy segment and a music segment. You get to be the rock star,
There would
and
be no
then
comedy. There would be no comedy at my party.
really, so, you're banging block party, no music.
No, no, no stand up. There's music, but
Excuse
no,
me, yeah, no comedy. Okay,
no
that's
stand up
fair.
comedy.
All right, that's fine.
That's work. That's work, baby. No work
Hey,
at the party.
you're in the Big Nipper, New York City, and you don't drive anymore,
No,
correct?
correct.
If you were if somebody lets you cross a street that they're not like necessarily supposed to let you cross at that moment in time, do you at least give them a little wave?
Yeah,
Like if I've had it happen a few times. It's kind of like this is kind of a little. It's like a bit. It's also kind of a peeve. It's something that's bothering me. That's pretty inconsiderate, right? If I let someone cross that wasn't supposed to be crossing, and they kind of almost like if they like eyeball you a little too, like yeah, you should have done that. I was like, that hurts, dude. I don't like that. I don't like that one bit.
yeah, yeah. That makes sense. I mean, you know, you have a lot of issues to work out that have nothing to do with them.
Maybe that's it. I just expect society to act in a certain standard on certain things that I just can't
Yeah,
control. I think.
that's most people. Yeah.
Okay, well that's one for me because I'd like write someone a Christmas card if they let me cross the street when I'm jaywalking. Like that's a nice thing to do, honestly.
Yeah.
You're not
Yeah.
feeling this bit. You don't like this.
Well, yeah, no, I mean I get it. I totally get it. It's I totally get it. I think you're not alone. You're not alone for sure. I don't know,
Courtesy
man.
wave.
I get yeah, I'm all with the kind gestures if someone does something nice for you. But I just don't have any expectations that people will be that way. I mean, I'm not saying I don't, but I try not to.
Maybe so I should lower expectations. That's a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah, well, yeah, expectations are the blueprints for resentments. That's what I was taught.
That's deep. I'm gonna I'm gonna run by that one because I don't know how to even talk about that. I saw that Mark Zuckerberg was building a bunker. Did you know that?
Uh-huh.
Did you hear that?
No.
Mark Zuckerberg is building a bunker. I think it's in
Uh-huh.
Hawaii. So
Uh-huh.
everyone's freaking out. Hey, apocalypse, all that. It's so funny. I'm so far away from a point in my life where I could consider living somewhere with a bunker, buying a bunker, building one. But I was
Mhm.
thinking to myself, what would I want in the bunker that's like a necessity if you have the money to do it?
Hmm.
So what do you think? What would you want?
Um, I would want a coffee machine for sure, right? An exceptional home entertainment system. Let's say, I don't want to say hookers because I don't do hookers, but I mean, I don't know, and those kind of different, if in that kind of, in that world, in that life, I don't know, maybe I'm a hooker guy, if I'm at the
Maybe
point where I'm bunkering up, maybe I start being a hooker guy, maybe I have to pay some people to be hookers with me down there.
that would be the worst night to be a hooker ever, is if someone was like, hey, come back home with me for, X dollars. They take him home, apocalypse, lock the bunker. It's like, well, we're all stuck here together now.
Yeah, it's American Psycho shit.
I guess, but not as like violent. It's like if there truly was an apocalypse moment, and it's like you just happened to go home that night with the guy who has a bunker. Did you wish you didn't? Like at that point, or
That's like a great movie idea.
that's a great movie idea, dude. Because think
Like,
about it, she's
yeah,
got to contemplate: was it just worth maybe if it didn't work out, or is it better to be here with this dude who's rich enough to have a bunker, so the amenities are nice? It's not like a sloppy place.
right. And like, does she fall in love with him? But then the whole time she always wonders, was it really love? Was it some sort of Stockholm syndrome? Like, that would be really fun to explore all those different human motivations and feelings.
Yeah, dude. Hopefully it was like, oh yeah, he'd have showers and stuff in there. So even if it wasn't early in the night, she could still clean up. So like it wouldn't wouldn't be that gross, I guess. But yeah, that's a great. Okay, I like that. So maybe home entertainment system, maybe some hookers.
Yeah.
Anything else? Anything else you want to throw in there?
Food, obviously. You
Yeah,
gotta
it's
have good
dumb.
food.
Yeah, you're gonna have food in there. What else? That's cool. I kind of want a ping pong table or a bowling alley, something that I could get really good at for some reason, like just repetition type of thing.
Oh yeah. I mean, gym. Definitely a gym.
A dartboard. I think a dartboard would be nice.
Yeah. Um yeah, it's kind of weird because like imagine if everyone else died, like certain things you would be like, what is the point, right? Like say for instance, you don't have another female, so you can't make more children, so you can't even extend the human race. So you're like, well, oh, I should write about this, but you're like, why? Who will read it? You know?
Yeah, it's that too. That's kind of rough.
Because I would want to be like, oh, look, I finally have time to write a novel. But then it's like, it's a good question to ask myself, would I write a novel if I was going to live for another 40 years, but no one else was? Like, am I truly an artist enough to be like, I just enjoy the journey of creating? Or do I need other people to perceive my work?
Oh, that would be tough in a bunker to think about like jokes. Because one, you'd be working solely off memories for like premise. Nothing would be life examples.
Yeah.
Like, oh, what's the deal with bunkers? You know what I mean? Like you can't write bunker jokes in a bunker for 3 years and then come out and there'd be fire because no one's going to listen to them anyway. Eventually, it would be interesting to be the first comedian back on the scene after an apocalypse. Like, how does that guy get back into work? Like I can imagine you're the last comedian alive, around 1,000 people alive. You're like, I'm just gonna keep doing what I was doing. I was chasing comedy. If you guys want, come check me out. I don't know. That's wild, dude. Maybe we should stop thinking about apocalypse.
Yeah.
It's not. It's kind of terrifying, honestly.
Yeah. 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 I mean, no one wants to think about that,
But it's well, Mark Zuckerberg's thinking about it, so I want to think about it.
Yeah. Well, what's your angle with thinking about it?
It's just fun to think about. I don't really have a reason why I do a lot of stuff. I just kind of do it.
Yeah, I think that's where you and I differ greatly.
Okay. If you're gonna put your brain to something, you're like, there's got to be a purpose to it. I'm like, no, I'm just kind of fascinated by Mark Zuckerberg's bunker.
I'm just like, yeah, I don't really, just in general in life, I don't really find that I'm like, I'll just randomly do this, and I feel like it's very like intentional. I feel a sense of like what is the word? Not restraint, but I feel painfully aware of like the limited money, limited time, limited this. Like I feel aware of that, and I'm like want to make the most of it. You know?
Yeah, but you got plenty of downtime to think about what you would do with Mark Zuckerberg's bunker. I'm just so like I get that. Like I don't not feel those things, but I just sometimes my
No,
mind
I
just
mean,
needs something to think about. I just maybe I'm ADD. Maybe that's the problem.
well, you're. I mean, I'm on some level. I wish because I've spent countless hours wasted thinking about like OCD rituals or like things that like are not basically are pointless as well, but also are painful. So it's like, yeah, I would if it was like if you could give me the option to press a button and be like, okay, you either think about Mark Zuckerberg in a bunker and you don't feel shame and guilt and like anxiety and depression, but you just have to think about Mark Zuckerberg in a bunker for 1 hour a day. Or you think about these other things that are not fun. Yeah, I would obviously choose Mark Zuckerberg,
Yeah,
you
you
know?
should just do that. You should just do that, Danny.
We just discovered the cure to mental illness. When
Yeah.
you're feeling depressed, just think about Mark Zuckerberg in a bunker.
Imagine funny stuff. That's what I do. I just take my mind to funny stuff. So, well, hey, dude, you're gonna get there. Don't worry. Let's see. Let's see what else I got. Have you written a letter to Santa Claus this year? Would you ask for anything if you did?
Um, no, I haven't written a letter. Have you written a letter to Santa
No,
Claus?
but no. But I had to go to USPS today, and I saw they have a mailbox in there for letters to Santa Claus, and it made me think. It made me think it would be kind of funny to fantasize as an adult about like something a fictitious character could bring me. Ultimately, all of them end up being really bad ideas. So I don't even want to talk. I'm just curious. I think more so it's like I thought about myself walking up to that mailbox as an adult and putting a letter into it and then thinking, what is everybody else going to think when they see me put that letter in there? What's wrong with that guy? Why is he delivering Santa letters? Is that weird that I think about that?
No, no, it's not weird. It's not weird. I don't think people would really. It's like my buddy said something really good to me recently this year. We were talking about like this idea of like other people thinking about you and like how we worry about it so much, right? And then he was like, it's kind of like this one Norm Macdonald joke where he's like, you ever hear this Norm Macdonald joke where he's like, they say men think about sex like whatever amount of time a day. And he's like, that's not true. This is what I think about. I'll be walking down the street and they'll be like, oh, that's a tall building. Do, 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 do. Oh, that guy's wearing a cowboy hat. I wonder if I could wear a cowboy hat. Nah, I couldn't pull it off. Willie Nelson wears a cowboy hat. Do, do, do. And he's like, he keeps going on and on. He's like, the point is, I'm not thinking about sex. What really happens is when I do think about sex, that's all I think about. And it's a great bit, but it's like my friend was saying, like, you think about like, oh, what will this other person think about me? And it's just like Norm's joke with the stream of consciousness. It's like someone will be like, man, dude, I can't believe my mom has dementia. This sucks. My kid is on drugs. Ugh, God, my boss is such a fucking asshole. Oh, look at this jerk off delivering a letter to Santa. What a fucking dweeb. Oh, anyhow, I gotta go pick up that Benadryl. Fucking, like that's the amount of time someone thinks about you, and like, what does that even mean that they thought like a thought about you for a second? You know what I mean? Like, and we put so much stake into that, like what other people think about us, but it's like people think mostly about themselves and their lives, and then briefly, if anything, it should be like a plus that you would ever interject into someone's mind for even a second in any way.
There
You
is
know?
that. There is that angle of it. But I think it's because when I think about myself putting a letter in a Santa Claus mailbox and I go, would anybody else see that and think about it? I immediately put myself in other people's shoes, seeing a grown ass man like me putting a letter in a Santa Claus box and go, how can I make fun of this guy? Because for me naturally, like I would see somebody. So I almost like skip. I like get out of my body, go into someone else's body, and watch something happen. It's maybe again that's where our minds differ. Maybe I'm living. Maybe my brain is in the Matrix, Danny, and I just don't realize it yet. I took the blue pill at some point. Maybe that's what's going on. I don't know. I don't know,
I
dude.
think I know what I would ask Santa for.
What would you ask him for?
I would ask Santa to. I feel like I would ask Santa. This is going to be hard to kind of articulate, but I would like, hey Santa, can you make me feel a certain childlike sensibility about romance where I basically am incapable of perceiving the future or thinking about it, worrying about it, and just give me the ability to see someone and fall head over heels for them and not worry about like, oh, we don't click here or this or oh, what is this? Eventually one of us is going to fall in love with the other one and then like worry about all these things to the point where I think myself out of it, even maybe interacting or initiating. And just more so just give me, but let me have that experience, then give me a situation to use that newfound innocence, short-sightedness, and just lack of conscientiousness about that. Let me experience that for about a month, 2 months, 3 months. Then let me go back and revisit how I previously felt. And therefore I can have a point of reference, compare them. Because in this new way that I'm asking, this new way of thinking that I'm asking Santa Claus to grant me, I won't even be aware that I ever thought differently, obviously, because that's the whole thing. It's the cynicism is gone. And so I want to be able to go back, compare, and be like, okay, and then make a decision. So I still have freedom of choice. And then I basically take the blue pill or the red pill with romance again.
I think there's a Hallmark movie about that. I'm not totally sure, but that's still one of the deepest answers. If Santa read that letter, hey guys, come read what this guy wants. All right, all right.
He thinks there's actually people out there that are falling in love, and like it's actually like the movies. Like he's like, yeah, it's like, yeah, jerk off. We all feel that way, but we stuff it down and we just pile through because we don't want to sleep alone every night. You asshole. This guy actually thinks this is a possibility. This guy's fucking nuts.
Oh, dude, that letter gets crumpled up so fast. It goes, here you go, buddy. You're gonna get splashed by a puddle this year. That's what you're getting. Oh, dude, I hope that comes true for you, Danny, so much. But I tell you what, if the Santa Claus I know is out there, that ain't happening, bro. It's not happening.
I don't. You can't undo that, man. You can't. Pandora
Oh,
doesn't go
dude.
back to the box.
He's never seen a crazier request for Christmas. Oh man. You know how you're sober?
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm not. I'm not. Yeah, I know you are. Is there? I'm not asking this because I feel this way about anyone I've met or seen or heard of. Just asking as a concept. That's it. Are there any? Do you think there's ever been a comedian or is a comedian who's faking sobriety?
I think so.
Yeah. Like even a 1%er type of situation, like someone's just like, maybe that's my angle.
I think now this might not be what you mean, but I would think a possibility would be like, you know how like you saw my act when I was in Florida, right? And a lot of it would kind of rely, especially when I'm talking about drugs, part of it relies on the angle of, hey, I used to do a lot of drugs, but I don't anymore. Therefore, a couple of things happen with that. The audience can be like, okay, this is fine because he's healed, he's recovered. We don't have to worry about him. Tell us your tales, you know? I always felt like it kind of put the audience at ease that I'm not like, yeah, I'm actively shooting heroin, smoking crack, and then being like, ha ha ha. Like that would be, you know, it's the fact that it's in the past, it's neatly tucked away, and we're just going to examine it. But anyhow, but if a lot of it relied on that like goodwill that's established by being like, I'm sober, I'm doing the right thing, so have compassion for me and let me tell you these tales now. So and also just like I don't know. So there's like a certain level of like respect you kind of win. I would think that there's plenty of people that are sober and talk about like, I'm sober. So I would think the possibility of what you're talking about would be like a guy who relapses, but still has all this material that relies on him being sober and that point of reference. I think that has definitely happened.
Okay, that's a very specific use case and probably accurate. Like that's had to have happened like before 100%.
Yeah.
And I
I
know
mean, I
that
think
like
even John Mulaney might have been that at one point. I don't know.
yeah.
I'm not trying to.
Yeah, but
But
like if you actually were, I'm talking with somebody who's like never, like if I was just one day was like, you know what, I'm gonna go the sober route just for the bits, just for the angle. Like I don't know. I was just thinking about like because honestly, and I kind of talked to you about this. Like there was this little point in time, like earlier this year, I didn't drink for like 7 weeks, and for no reason, it's just fucking around, just kind of like doing stuff, and I felt a lot of people like judging me in social groups because I was like, no, I'm not drinking. Like I just didn't want. I was like working out and stuff, whatever.
yeah,
But people constantly were like, "What? Like, what's? Is there a reason why?" I was like, "No, I'm just trying to not drink." And I texted you about this, and I was like, "How come people can't understand it when I'm just doing it for no reason?" But when someone's like gone through stuff, right, and they've gone through rehab or whatever, everyone's like, "Oh, okay, that totally makes sense." It's just I don't know. It's just an interesting angle to take. If I was like, man, if I really didn't want to drink, I would have to go full blown like, yeah, I'm in sobriety. Like you just have to like use that excuse to get the respect you deserve to not drink. It's messed up. It's messed up.
yeah. No, I totally get it. But I also just feel like it's like, fuck people. What do they know?
Yeah, fuck them, dude. Yeah, fuck them. What do they?
What do
Yeah, I
they
mean
know?
that's ultimately what I did, but I still
Yeah.
thought about it because, like you said,
No, I mean,
you
you're
talk about
absolutely right.
people judging you, all that stuff. It's my brain just works in the world of like, how am I viewing this from other people's lenses and my own? Because that's where I find humor from, of like observing situations. So I observe the situation from my perspective and their perspective, and thinking, why is
I
everybody?
don't know.
Why is everyone wrong in this situation? Why am I,
Yeah. No,
including
I
myself?
don't know why, but your bit, this whole thing just made me think of like really a fucked up example of like you were like talking about like, yeah, I just couldn't drink, or I wasn't drinking, and it's like I had to like tell people. I don't know why, but I just thought of like a Louis C.K. bit or something where it's like, yeah, it's like I wasn't like addicted to fucking kids. I just stopped. And it's just like, like I feel like Louis would go that route, like
Yeah.
of just like, I just
Do I need a
stopped. Like
reason?
I don't have to
Yeah. Do I
be.
need a reason?
I don't
Yeah.
have to be a pedophile to quit fucking children. I just.
Oh, dude. There's an election coming up next year.
Oh shit! Fuck. That's what I have to think about that. Say about that.
Yeah. Well, I've been thinking about this a lot because I don't think about it at all. So I do like to think about it a little bit.
Uh-huh.
And what I was thinking about was if I was president, what would I do? Like, what's like one thing you like besides all the important stuff? Like, what would you do to like make your stamp as president of the United States?
Legalize all drugs.
All of it?
Yeah, everything.
Why?
It sounds like ridiculous. Like I'm saying, like part of it is just like that's you would be remembered for that. But here's the thing: is like I actually probably would do that anyhow, just because I believe in that idea of like destigmatizing and just like taking away the taboo and decriminalizing and just like instead of having a war on drugs, like basically putting your money and tax dollars towards recovery and resources for people to treat addiction as a mental illness situation rather than a criminal situation. So it stops being kind of fun and funny because then I actually have like a real reason for it. But it sounds funny at first to be like,
It
oh,
does sound
legalize all
really funny
drugs.
at first, and then you go, "Wow, there's a really kind of sensible answer to the end of that," and I wasn't expecting it. Well,
Yeah.
That'll never happen. So luckily, that's not the case. Anything else? One of the things I thought would be funny to do if I was president, I say funny because it's funny, but it also would be practical, is if you could eliminate long lines across the country. Like lines that take too long to get through. I think it should become like a requirement, a compliance thing of like, there should be nothing you should have to wait for more than 5 minutes. Like like everything should be employed enough. They should build enough. Like roller coasters shouldn't take as long as they do to get on. Like everything, the wait for everything should have to be reduced significantly. I'm tired of waiting for stuff. That's my thing.
Yeah. Well, you want more time to think about Mark Zuckerberg in his bunker.
I have too much time to think about Mark Zuckerberg and his bunker.
The line's too long. Yeah.
Because I'm just sitting in lines, was waiting all day, thinking about what I'm gonna do. I don't know, dude. I just think there's got to be something. Like an average guy like me or you gets in to become the president. Like, what can we actually do?
Instead of take away the lines for the things like the roller coasters, and to kind of offset that, you now have to wait in a line to post on social media. That would help, I think, the world a lot. If you had to
social
wait
media
line, social media, think about it. You sitting in line, you're like, do you really want to post? I had to take a massive shit today. Like, you're gonna get out of that line and go do something. You're gonna go plant a garden or something.
If there was
I hate my boss. She's such a bitch. Like,
if there was a digital line to post on social media, that would be crazy. Let's talk.
Some lines are good. Some lines are good.
It would be helpful because it's like, and the thing is, it'd be some weird AI technology stuff where like you couldn't just walk downstairs and go make dinner while your comments waiting. You had to like look into the camera and be like, no, I'm here. I'm present. I'm in the moment waiting for this thing to post. Damn, that's a dark situation.
Is it dark? I think it's good.
Stop. I mean, it's dark. It's dark because it might just end the internet. People be like, I don't give a fuck. I'm not waiting to post anything. You crazy?
Only for people who had nothing to say in the first place. If you really had something meaningful to say, you would sit there and then you would just think about how you're gonna like say it.
Yo, should we start a social media platform where there's lines?
Like, I like it.
Everything else is too instant. Let me just be called Line. They got X. We'll just be Line. Get in line. What's the
opposite of line?
Opposite of what?
Zip line.
Opposite of zip line is unzip line.
Yeah, something like that.
Zip line
because it's like zip line because it's ironic. That could work.
This might the only, like because you gotta think if there's like got to be like communities in this idea, right? So you like if you want to post in certain communities, you have to get in line to post within a community, and the most popular communities with the most followers, like if you waited long enough, you would get seen by that community. It could be worth the wait. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Damn,
people love waiting in lines, dude. People love exclusivity. Like think about like I got here last year in New York for New Year's Eve, and I went to like Times Square, and people are just waiting for days, maybe like a day, but they're wearing adult diapers, dude, to get into the Times Square ball drop. Like people have nothing to do. A lot of people just give me something meaningful. I'll wait in line to do Times Square once.
Am I the only person that hates lines this much? Because it sounds like lots of people like lines.
People definitely hate lines, but like also on some, I don't know. I just, in general, they're constantly contradicting themselves. Like, I feel like someone could be like, earlier that day, they'd be at 7-Eleven like, oh, God, hurry up. But then they're in a hurry to go wait in another line, It's like a Seinfeld bit. It's like a Seinfeld bit, People are in a rush to go out, but then they're in a rush to go back home,
Maybe the idea of our social platform Line or Zip Line or whatever it's going to be called is just like right now information is too quickly provided to us. This was like, hey, we got to slow it down and reduce the amount of it. So it's like it's really important if something comes out of our platform, if you can read it, it was waiting in line. It was urgent. And maybe that day, what if one thing gets seen today and it's just like, yo, I had to take a big shit this morning. Like maybe that's all it maybe that's all it is. Maybe that's what you get for the day. Like news shouldn't travel as fast as it does. Maybe that's what we're breaking it down as. I don't know. We just might have solved.
It's like the Yeezys of information.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. We might have come up with something. I'm gonna talk to some smart people and see if there's any way we can make this happen. Because I can't do it, that's for sure. But we could do it. We're the brains. Should I hold off on posting this episode? Maybe just talk to some investors first.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I would maybe. I mean, I would be more worried about maybe like the kid fucking bit as opposed to the zipline thing. But that's just my set of values.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that because you actually referenced the person who could say whose comedy would align pretty well with.
Right.
Saying
I safely said that he would be better off.
You 100% said that in a way where I don't feel like I need to go edit that out.
Yeah,
for both of our sake, I think.
I'm not. I've never.
Who do you think the oldest person to find out about Santa Claus is?
I don't even really understand. Like, I guess, like in current day.
I mean, in the current life we live in, yeah.
Like, I think maybe like a 13-year-old Christian raised person, just kind of had their head in a book and just like wasn't raised with that, and then around 7th grade they finally were like, everyone keeps talking about Santa. What the fuck is this? Maybe you could make it till 13.
Yeah. No, is it like 13? Is that the deepest you can go these days without it being ruined? I feel like with the internet, it's got to get ruined pretty quick these days, right?
Are you saying people finding out that Santa Claus is not real?
Yeah. What did I say?
I thought you said, what's the oldest person? I don't know. For some reason in my head, I thought you meant, what's the oldest person who found out about Santa Claus? I don't know why, but I thought you meant the concept of Santa Claus.
Danny, are you aware that Santa Claus isn't real?
I was raised with no Santa Claus.
Yeah. Okay.
And that shows in everything I do.
Let me rephrase that.
If that hasn't been apparent to everyone watching this, I am clearly a person who never experienced the joy of believing in Santa Claus.
Danny.
Yeah.
What is the oldest age that somebody has found out that Santa Claus is not real?
Oh, that's way different. And dude, think about a mentally retarded person. You could go 45 years easily. You got nice parents that have money. You're staying at home. You're mentally retarded. I could say go 45 years.
And they're like, why even take this away from him?
Even if someone tells you that Santa Claus is not real, if you have a certain deficiency in IQ points, you will be able to barrel forward regardless of the facts set before you.
They would think that person doesn't know what they're talking about.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so there's that angle. And I guess probably what you said earlier is correct, like 13. Like 13 is probably an age where I get so horsed up. I don't know why. 13 is probably an age where like you're finally just like, all right, a lot of kids are talking about it. A lot of kids are helping their parents put presents under the tree. Like, should I go ask my parents? You think there's parents that ever just forgot? Like a kid that got to high school and was like, nope, my parents have not talked to me about that.
Hell yeah, dude. Parents forget.
I think parents forget the kid in Cars. You mean to tell me they wouldn't forget a detail like Santa Claus? Like just part of the upbringing?
Hell yeah. Parents dude. Parents, they're having affairs. They're fucking, they're dealing with alcoholism. They could have so many, they're trying to merge with another firm. Oh, fuck. I forgot to tell my kids Santa Claus isn't real. Plus, who wants to do that anyhow?
Like corporate parents who have like a Spanish speaking nanny, they just forget. There's like this like weird kid who's just like, oh, Santa's here again.
Dude, yeah, totally.
Dude, let's we're about an hour. It feels like that flew by. So we're gonna wrap this up.
Yeah.
I appreciate you coming on. I'm going to ask you I got 2 quick questions, and then we're going to wrap this up. This one doesn't really make sense because what you do now, but it was a segment I started called "Can you eat it while driving?" Since I know you've driven a car before, I am curious. I'm going to ask this to you, even though you don't drive one anymore. But can you eat it while driving? Right. So number 1 is chicken nuggets.
Yeah, of course.
What do you use dipping sauce or no?
I can do dipping sauce.
How do you position it? What's your strategy behind it?
Preferably I'll have some sort of center console, and then I would just put the nuggets right there with the sauce and just dip, and
you don't have to worry about slippage and sliding, and like you're just you have like a sticky center console or something.
I mean, you got to understand, you're talking to an individual who has snorted drugs while driving. I don't think I've ever shot up while driving. I've definitely shot up while in a car that was moving and someone else was driving. So I have quite a range in terms of my ability to, I mean, I've driven someone else. I've been in the passenger seat while someone else was driving, handed them a CD case for them to snort heroin while I'm driving using their wheel. They accelerate. As they snorted, they accelerated because there was some sort of mind-body connection. And so nose-foot connection. So they accelerated towards the semi-truck. I had to swerve out of the way and then swerve back because there was another car. So nuggets are no problem. It doesn't matter. Give me any sort of situation, I'm handling the nuggets, whether it's my lap, whether it's, I can hold on to the packet right here and dip and keep the nuggets in my lap. I'm good. I can handle it. Trust me. Cup holders? Are you kidding me? Dude, side things right here. Put the packet there. Boom. Done. I'm going overhand dip mouth. I'll switch it up. I'll do it all lefty. I'll do it all righty.
Okay.
I got it. There's limitless possibilities. I mean, let's be real here, bro. Let's be real. Let's get real with ourselves, right? Sunglass thing up here.
That's so underused in the dipping game.
I'll put nuggets up there. I won't sauce. That's risky because the sauce could drip, and that's not good.
But it could be the nugget holder up there.
What about up here? This whole thing up here, the thing below the windshield.
Yeah.
Dude, if you drive properly, that's all free game. You could set up a laptop, dipping laptop, get an espresso maker going. You're good. You can handle all that up here.
So, food, because of the drug times of your life, is an easy problem compared to easy no brainer. You don't even have to think about it.
Brainer, dude. If I have to.
So can I post? Are you okay? We posted that. That's for the funniest thing. Okay, bro.
If I had to, bro, I'll put food on the floor of the passenger seat just so I have an easier vacuuming, and I'll reach down while driving. I'm not scared, dude. I'm not worried about it.
You've had way bigger things to think about than that. Okay, because one of the other, I'm not going to ask some of the other ones because it's chump change to you. But the other ones I'm going to ask was spaghetti because that usually gets people thrown off. But honestly, spaghetti compared to doing heroin in the car.
No, I'm going to be honest. Spaghetti might trump heroin.
Oh, no way, dude.
Spaghetti that's complex, dude. Come on. Think about it. You got sauce. That's more difficult. That involves nuggets was easy. I think I might have gotten overzealous.
I think spaghetti might be the most complicated thing. I was like, you're gonna be like, oh, that's a walk in the park, no word.
No, that's not. That's
okay. So we draw the line somewhere between nuggets and spaghetti. That's Danny Fallon, everybody. Let's give it up for Danny Fallon. I think that was really all right. We're gonna wrap up now. That was the funniest part of this whole episode. Was the last 2 minutes. I love it. I want to wrap up on this. Maybe this is good. Maybe this is bad. It's not. What's the best piece of advice you've gotten so far as a comedian since you've been doing this?
As a comedian, The best piece of advice. Oh man, that's so hard. I don't know. Oh, I feel like Kanye West right now. I feel like I got to stall in order to think about what people have actually said to me.
What's one that it doesn't have to be the best, because sometimes putting the best on something makes it feel like that's got to be the best. What's something that was impactful to you this year? Let's go with that. Something impactful that you heard that's helped you kind of, continue to write, do well, be funny, whatever.
Okay, yeah, that is good when you put it like that. I think um oh, two things. So one thing that was really helpful was like I was worried about like this idea of like, oh, I've already talked about this stuff, like the drug stuff, I need to find something new or whatever. And I was talking to this guy and he was just talking about like this other guy who's like he talks about prison a lot. And I think he had been out of prison for like 20 years or something. And he's working on like his fourth album about like prison stuff. And I was like, it's as simple as that. I mean, the simple takeaway is just like you do what you're good at. You do what you know, and when you're supposed to talk about something else, you'll talk about something else. But if you still feel like talking about that thing, then just do it, It's still in your heart to talk about, and just because you feel like you're past it doesn't mean that the audience is past it. That's the thing for me too, is that like in general with my journey in life, it's like I feel like by the time I'm really able to articulate something really well, sure, the feelings and the novelty of it has worn off for me, but that almost makes me more clear to do a good job for the audience, for the people who are going to receive the
So you're
art,
saying, like, don't be afraid to go back to topics you've already done before?
Yeah.
I like that. Ladies and gentlemen, the great Danny Fallon, the very funny Danny Fallon, the very gonna be famous one day Danny Fallon. Thank you so much for being on my show, man. I appreciate it, dude. You've always been a funny dude. You've always been nice to me. I appreciate that. And we'll do this again